Adam Smasher versus a Space Marine in hand-to-hand combat. Who would win? Now, I'm not biased at all, but this depends on which version of Adam Smasher we're talking about. If we're talking about the 2020 pre-Fourth Corporate War version of Smasher, then that's just when he's Arasaka's favorite mercenary, not when he's Night City's boogeyman. At that point in his life, Smasher had a Samson frame for his body. That body has a strength score of 18, which would allow Smasher to deadlift 1,500 pounds, if I remember correctly. Going RPG to RPG with the Deathwatch RPG, a Space Marine can lift significantly more. I'll put that number here, but it's more. So if this were a deadlifting competition, Space Marine would win, hands down, easily, no question. This is probably a small number to some. But they're not in a bodybuilding competition where they're just posing and everything. They're fighting, and Adam Smasher does have some martial arts training, especially in the cyborg martial art that Cyberpunk has, where they're able to optimize their enhanced reflexes, hit harder because their hands and feet are made of metal, but he's not too well trained in that really either. You see, the thing with Smasher is he depends highly on cybernetics. He believes that machine is better than meat, and he depends on machine instead of skill. That's where he has a rivalry with Morgan Blackhand, and contrary to popular belief, Morgan Blackhand has a decent amount of cyberware as well. The difference is, Smasher depends entirely on cyberware, Blackhand depends on that and skill and smarts and everything else. Again, 2020 Smasher, not even a top-tier mercenary in Cyberpunk. I mean, one of the Solo of Fortune books has a list of the top 10 mercenaries, and Smasher isn't even on there, not even in the honorable mentions. So strength goes to the Space Marine, martial arts skill probably goes to the Space Marine because they train for at least a few years. They'd have a score higher than 2 in their martial art of choice. As for speed, this is before Adam Smasher had the Sandevistan, but he still has a very high reflex score. In Cyberpunk, his reflex score is 15. That doesn't really sound too high, but his score is tied for the second highest reflex score in Cyberpunk. His reflex score is on par with the wingman cyborg body, which you can kind of think about it as a brain in a jar made to pilot a jet fighter. It's got really good reflexes, and so does Adam Smasher. He's very fast. Space Marines are also hard to hit, especially in power armor. They have really good reflexes as well, and I think that in the end, hand-to-hand versus Space Marine 2020 Smasher, it would be difficult to hit Smasher, and he would get a few hits in, but eventually the Space Marine would win. Now, an interesting note is the Space Marine is person inside of armor. Adam Smasher is brain in a jar inside of a cybernetic body. If he loses his arm, he doesn't really care, but Space Marines pretty much have that as well because of the gene seed and stuff. Later versions of Adam Smasher, though, when he has the Sandevistan, an experimental advanced version of the Sandevistan, and a body focused entirely on combat, not the construction worker body that he had in 2020, against your average Space Marine, I'm pretty sure Smasher would win pretty much every time. Remember, we're talking average Space Marine versus guy who pretty much slows down time. Now, the Sandevistan doesn't slow down time, but it increases their reaction time, and Adam Smasher has a fully cybernetic body, so he can make incredible use of that, and it's like time is slowed down to him. He's not gonna get hit. His body is tough enough to survive falling from a 100-story building. Sorry, Rebecca. I'm sure somebody will disagree with me, but I just can't see a Space Marine, an average Space Marine, winning against Smasher hand-to-hand. The 2077 version.